Has anybody got any NAS? Because today we are showing you how to do nitro beer. This is how you make that thick, delicious, creamy, fluffy head that hangs around for days. Let's get our nitro on. Despite what the name suggests, nitro beer still needs CO2. So you still need a CO2 bottle or you still need to ferment under pressure to get your beer carbonated up to 70% of what you would ordinarily do for that given style. So if we're talking about a classic Guinness, for example, or a Nitro NEPA, link to that video that we did right up there, you want to have it to the point where you've almost fully carbonated it, the beer still feels kind of flat, and then you're gonna finish it off with nitrogen. So for that purpose, if you want to do this accurately and have it calculated properly, there's a link to this video right up here where we show you how professionals carbonate their beer, and that way you could calculate exactly how many grams of CO2 you need in your beer before you whack on the nitro. Now, let's talk about the nitrogen mix. Here we have our nitrogen, and once again, despite what the name suggests, it's not 100% nitrogen. This is a blend of 75% nitrogen, 25% carbon dioxide. So after you've gotten your beer to that 70% level of carbonation, you whack on your nitrogen tank. You're gonna leave this quite high in pressure and leave it all that way through to serving. Nitrogen is actually served around 30 to 35 psi, which is massively higher than what you would use if you're using a CO2 bottle. But that's how you get that nice foamy, creamy pour and that cascading effect inside of the glass. For us today, we are using a Kegland kit. So we have our nitrogen bottle right here, and we have a separate nitrogen regulator that we'll show you in just a moment that connects to this specific thread right here. So here we have our nitro specific regulator. As you can see, it's got a thread on the back, which is far, far smaller than what you'd have for your classic CO2 bottles. That's made specifically for this tank right here. All you need to do is screw it right on top. I should probably show you. There's a little seal on the inside there, so you don't need to be using plumber's tape on this because it's going to be forward sealing, kind of like a soda stream. There is one word of caution that I'd issue for this one here. As you get to the point where it's about to connect, it will start to release gas, so get past that point nice and quick. There we go. If you heard that little gas release right there, we're now connected and we've got our pressure showing up inside. The other really cool thing about nitro is that the measurement of how much gas is left is way more accurate than with CO2 bottles because this is not liquid gas, it's just pressurized gas, which is just a nice little side note so that you can actually trust that volume gauge on your regulator. The only complaint I have about this Kegland kit right here is that my particular one does leak nitrogen. I've noticed if it's not in exactly the right position. So a word of caution that I would recommend is don't leave this connected indefinitely overnight the way that you would with regular CO2 bottles. When you're not serving, I would disconnect the regulator because you don't want to end up losing all that nitrogen that you paid all those good beer bucks for. Now, let's talk about how we're going to serve. Before we can actually pour our beer, we need the right equipment. Now I guess is as good a time as any to mention that we actually do have an affiliate program with Kegland now, so if you do want to get your own nitro setup and pour nitro style beers at home, use the link down below. I'll link the kit that we purchased to actually do our full setup, but it does give our channel a small little kickback so you can help support us to keep making great videos like this one here. Now, talking about the spout itself, you can get a full nitro tap and have the whole setup where you're changing the full shank and everything itself. But Kegland has got actually quite a clever little elegant solution here. We have a nitro style faucet that can screw onto your existing taps. So what you'll notice here, the key difference being the nitro style faucet is longer, need to give that a clean, but it also has a little aerator disc on the inside here. So it's got tiny little holes, and this helps with the aeration of the beer as it pours into the glass. That gives you your classic signature foamy, creamy looking beer with that cascading effect looking like all the bubbles are falling down the glass. It's because of those aeration discs. And if you want to customize yours and have a play around with how much head and how much foam you want to generate, Kegland also has an option for these little extra aeration discs that you can use to play around with how much foam you'll generate and how much head you'll generate when you pour your nitro beers. How to pour the beer. We're going to take it basically the same way as you pour regular beer, holding your glass 45-degree angle perpendicular to the tap, but with the kicker here being we want to fill it up to 3/4 full, stop there and let the glass settle. So if you've ever been to a pub and seen someone pour Guinness, this is what can make or break your beer. If you don't pour it right, you're not gonna get that signature cascade effect, and then the experience of that nitro beer is just gonna be ruined. Oh God, I love pouring nitro. It's such a satisfying look. Okay, we're about 3/4 full there. We're gonna let our glass start to settle. We'll see that we've got that cascade effect going on, and then we can finish up with our pour. Now we can finish up our pour, topping off the rest of our glass. Beautiful, delicious, thick, white, fluffy, creamy head. Now is as good a time as any to talk about why we get this cascading effect. Why does it look like the bubbles are falling? That's because nitrogen bubbles are much, much smaller than CO2. So what we actually have is almost a bit of a reverse whirlpool. The bubbles are rising to the surface, but they're rising up to the surface through the center, which then forces more beer to push its way down the sides of the wall of the glass, which carries some of those smaller nitrogen bubbles with it because they don't have as much strength to push their way to the top. So you've kind of got this circular movement going on, like a reverse whirlpool in the ocean. And that is why it looks like the beer is falling when it's actually rising. We like some good head. But why should you do nitro beer? It's an interesting question. This is actually the first nitro beer I've ever made because for the longest time, I just kind of thought if I want to get nitro, I'll just go buy myself a Guinness. But why nitrogen is the real question, because why homebrew? It's all about creation, and this gives you another avenue to do something really, really special with the great land of homebrewing. Nitrogen specifically though does have a couple of really cool benefits. First of all, that head will just hang around forever. As long as I leave this glass here, that head's not going anywhere. It is the thickest, creamiest way to have a delicious, fluffy head, which gives you that whole benefit of aromatics and extra taste and flavor and that mouthfeel. But secondly, the mouthfeel itself on the beer is so much smoother, silkier, creamier, and just gentler. And that's because the nitrogen bubbles are so much smaller than carbon dioxide bubbles. It gives you that silkier texture in the mouth, which is really beneficial for expressing extra juicy styles of beer like a nitro NEPA. This allows the hoppy characteristics of the beer to pop so much more with less of that prickly feeling in the mouth that you'd get from traditional CO2 carbonation. Finally, there is less carbonic bite, and that's because carbon dioxide, when dissolved in liquid, is acidic. It will increase the acidity of your beer, which in some cases is excellent. It's exactly what you want. But if you're going for a super silky style of beer or trying to emphasize the gentler tones in something like an Irish stout like a Guinness or like a nitro NEPA, and you want the other characteristics of the beer to pop, using nitro means that your beer is less acidic, which means the softer, more gentle, more fruity characteristics or the malty characteristics of the beer are allowed to shine through so much more without being encumbered by that extra pH or that lower pH. But all this goes without saying that there are certain styles that just aren't going to benefit from nitrogen. Things that are maltier and are more focused on the mouthfeel of the beer and the extra malt characteristics of the beer are going to benefit from nitro far more than other styles. So traditionally, you'd have like your Irish reds or your Irish stouts. They're going to be whacked onto nitro because it's all about that silky mouthfeel and emphasizing the maltier characteristics of the brew. In this case, in the modern world, NEPAs also really benefit because they have a saltwater profile similar to a stout. We're emphasizing the juicy hops and we're emphasizing that creamy, silky body. So other beer styles like lagers, pilsners, probably not going to benefit from nitro. But that's not saying that we won't try it. If you want to see us do a nitro lager, please drop a comment down below and we'll put that brew day together because I'm very curious to see what that would be like. I just know that it's not gonna be good. But a huge thank you to our Patreons. These guys help support the channel in the background, giving us that extra financial support and a bit of that morale boost when we go and ask questions over on the Patreon site. So if you want to join us and become a Patreon and get more involved with the channel, please click that link down below. But thank you very, very much for watching this video. If you've got any questions about nitro, drop a comment below. Anyone else that has done this before, be nice, help out the fellow brewer so that they can get started on their nitro journey as well. Now you can join us next week where we are going to talk about a new style of beer that we haven't done on this channel before. I'm gonna give you a hint. I will be speaking like this. This is the accent of where this beer comes from. It's really not. That's a terrible accent, but it is gonna be spicy. It's gonna be floral. It's gonna be absolutely delicious and packed full of flavor from somewhere European based, obviously. So drop a comment below if you can guess what next week's beer is gonna be. Cheers, guys. Catch you later.